Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and of course, you are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio, and next month will be the 49th year. Wow, pretty exciting. All right, now if you're on hold, hang in there. The phones are already lit up with people on hold. This is amazing. An amazing time, the second term of Trump. And of course, we're going to talk about everything that is the disaster known as Pam Bondi and what she did in that cabinet meeting yesterday. Pam Bondi's got to go. I'm sorry. Pam Bondi has got to go. She's messed up. I'm starting to wonder when Dan Bongino and Kash Patel did that interview with Maria Bartiromo on Fox a couple of months back, and they look like hostage videos. They look terrified. Dan Bongino was sweating like Albert Brooks in broadcast news when he got to host the nightly news in the anchor chair. Remember that, if you remember that movie? And I'm starting to wonder if they were afraid, not of the deep state, but of Pam Bondi. So we're going to cover this today and take your calls. What Pam Bondi did yesterday was so destructive to our great MAGA movement, and very well could have done a lot of damage to our great President Donald Trump. I'm going to play the exchange in a moment in the cabinet meeting. And we've been talking about this all week and last week. But when this memorandum came out from the FBI saying case closed on the Epstein case, no suspicious cause of death, he didn't blackmail people, case closed. And an unsigned memorandum. Why wasn't it signed? No one wanted to put their signature on it. And, a lot of people have speculated that Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and Dan Bongino have been pressured by evil people to cover up this case. If that were the case, one of them would have signed the document. No one signed it. In this cabinet meeting, I'm going to play the exchange uninterrupted in just a moment. But I want to talk about it for a little bit first. President Trump does like Pam Bondi a lot, or at least he did yesterday. He very well may not now. Because I don't think President Trump understood how passionate so many millions of MAGA people are about this case and about this issue. There was so much anger in MAGA world yesterday. Over 90% of it directed at Pam Bondi. And I'm going to play this exchange. President Trump tried to save her, and she made things so bad and so much worse than they already were. Now, this cabinet meeting yesterday, we all knew this was going to come up in the cabinet meeting, right? In fact, out of all the cabinet meetings, this may have been the highest rated of all of them, because we know that President Trump, who's the most transparent president in history, that he live televises his cabinet meetings, which this was, and they also turn in the press conferences for him and the cabinet. So we knew that when this cabinet meeting happened, that the Epstein case was going to come up, that Bondi was going to be there, and she was going to be questioned. So we were all watching and waiting for it. And then when it happened, the things that Pam Bondi said were insane. And frankly, it seems to me, listening to Pam Bondi and the way she handles this, she's the one that's covering this whole thing up for some purpose, for someone maybe. It sounds like, what I've been talking about the last couple of days about this case is that out of everything they could have focused on, why this? And in this way so quickly? There seemed to be almost a desperate need to say this case is closed, nothing to see here, and move on. Now, we know 100% Trump is not on this list. And the reason we know that, and we got to repeat this all the time, but the reason we know that is because the Republican establishment, the Democrats and the deep state did everything they could imagine doing to try to stop Trump from returning to the White House, right? I don't have to go through the list. You know what happened in the last 4 years. If he were on that list, if they had any information on him from that, it would have not been leaked out. It would have been very publicly released long ago when it wasn't. So we know that there's not some cover-up involving Trump. So why is Pam Bondi so obsessed with covering this up? There's a reason why. I'm going to play the cabinet meeting exchange uninterrupted.
Why don't?
All right. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll get to the calls in just a bit. But this is the question from the media person. You hear Pam Bondi, you hear the president, and then you hear Bondi again.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively, the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
And that's it. Case closed. Everything she said is nonsense, okay? This thing she said about the videos, it was just a couple weeks ago. She had a very high-profile press conference, Pam Bondi, and she said there's thousands of tapes of his that he made. They want to identify these people so they can protect the victims and all this stuff. Now that didn't exist. These were all videos he downloaded. Do any of you believe that? Do any of you believe that? You know, when she said, oh no, I never said there was a list on my desk. She did 2 interviews in particular that I've played on the air many times in the last couple of days, and they've been in the news. They were both on Fox. One was with John Roberts from Fox News, and the other was with Sean Hannity on Fox News. They both specifically asked her if she has the Epstein list, and she says it's sitting on my desk. This thing about, oh no, I meant all the files and the JFK files and the MLK files. Nonsense. She's lying. And, you know, President Trump certainly by now, after his workday was over, has seen the national outrage from MAGA world over this. 99% of the outrage is towards Pam Bondi. I blame her. I think that Bongino and Kash Patel have been afraid of her. I think she's the one been putting the pressure on them, not some outsiders, for the reason I said earlier. If they were getting pressured from these evildoers we keep hearing about, one of them would have signed that memorandum. It was unsigned. I think this is all about her. Is she covering for someone? She sounds like she's got an obsession to shut the discussion of this case down. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. After the break, we'll get to the phone calls. I want to remind you guys, a week from Saturday, July 19th, a week from Saturday, come meet me at Attorney Barry Siegel's Medicaid seminar. It's Saturday, July 19th. That is 1 week from this Saturday at 10 a.m. at his Boca office. I'm going to give you the number. It is completely free, but you do need to call and let them know you're coming because it's at his office. Space is limited, and they need to know how many seats they have to set up and everything, okay? And I'm looking forward to seeing you there. I've not done a personal appearance on a Saturday. I can't remember since, okay? And I know a lot of you work during the week and haven't had an opportunity to come to any of the appearances I've done because they're usually during the week. So come out. It's Saturday, July 19th at 10 a.m. In Boca at Attorney Barry Siegel's office. Here's the number, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And you can also go to the website, siegellawgroup.com, and get the number there. Give them a call, and I'll see you on the 19th, Saturday morning, a week from Saturday, at Attorney Barry Siegel's office. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, guys, I want to tell you, when I was streaming my podcast last night, I got an email from Mike Lindell's assistant. Today and tomorrow are the last 2 days of the free With God, All Things Are Possible pillow. This today and tomorrow, that's it. The special will end. Okay, so you can get this for free, the With God, All Things Are Possible multi-use My Pillow 2.0, a $39.98 value for free with any purchase with our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, regardless of how large or small the purchase is. Okay, so take advantage of this now. Go to mypillow.com/Kane, mypillow.com/Kane, K-A-N-E, and order yours. You can also order by phone toll-free, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. And again, this special will be gone. You have today and tomorrow, and that's it. I thought we were going to have this for the whole month of July, but no, it's been so successful that it's ending earlier than I thought. So go there and order yours. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, and I'm going to go to the calls when we get back. Yeah, those of you that watch on the stream with the green background, if you go to my other stream, which is going on now, and you can hear the audio sound bites, see the videos, and get the effects of the green screen. This one's just kind of like a behind-the-scenes view of everything. I think Pam Bondi is acting insane. I mean, I don't. What would be the purpose to rush to get rid of this? And what they've done with Pam Bondi has made this so much worse. So much worse. Mm-hmm. Trump doesn't want to fire anybody. He doesn't want to deal with all that, but I'd like to see Judge Jeanine as the Attorney General, wouldn't you? She'd be a great Attorney General. Wow. Hmm. 30 seconds, we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We're talking about this disaster that Pam Bondi has caused. All right, if you'd like to call in, please do. I'm going to take some calls now. The number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once. Yeah.
Fabian Madrano from Texas. I'm the guy who asked about the U.S. president a couple streams ago.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, what's on your mind, Texas? Hold on a second here. Hold on. My phones are ringing off the hook. Hold on. All right, Texas, go ahead.
I actually want to say something. You know about the floods, right, in Texas?
We're not talking about the floods. We're talking about other things. All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Eric. I'm calling from Virginia.
Okay.
I have a question. If Trump is hiring all these people, such as Pam Bondi, and you have an issue with her, isn't that a reflection of Trump hiring bad people?
No.
Why not?
He hires a lot of people. In fact, in this second term, he's literally hired thousands of people. Thousands and thousands, maybe 10,000. So one bad apple out of thousands, that's a pretty good record.
Well, why is it always their fault? I can name you several people that he hired that he doesn't like anymore.
Well, you don't know who he likes or doesn't like, but she's made...
we do. He says it publicly.
Excuse me. She's made a big mistake. A big mistake. And the problem is with you Trump haters, no matter what Trump does, you're going to say it's a mistake and wrong. Why do you dislike Trump so much? Why do you dislike Trump so much?
He's a pedophile.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Give me a break. Daddy issues, obviously. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Yeah,
this
Richie?
is to Richie. Yeah, this is for everybody out there that wants to know, including myself, wants to know exactly everything because I just enjoy politics.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing called top secret, folks. There's a thing called a SCIF where there's stuff that the population shouldn't have consumption of for reasons unknown, but they're going to stay unknown. The President of the United States, we went through that with Mar-a-Lago when they raided this house. He has the right to declassify and classify.
Yeah.
He has to make certain decisions. We can't know everything going on. I think Pam Bondi probably opened her mouth too fast. I don't think she's covering up for anybody. I think the decision was made by the President of the United States that this is a hot potato and it's not good for the population to know about it. I think it's a priority for him listen, you're talking about pedophiles and major players here with a lot of money, a lot of governments involved. And I think It's a top secret thing. I don't think that we have to know everything. I mean, everyone wants to know what went on with Epstein. We want to know whether he was murdered, and we've seen a lot.
Well, like let me give you an example. Okay, Epstein's been out of circulation for a long time because he was jammed up in court so many years. Okay.
Yeah.
So but what we haven't seen with Pam Bondi is any investigation, right? No investigation. And as an example, with the jail, the jail cell situation and the mysterious death and all that, it's not about whether he took his own life or not, so much as it is, was he allowed to do that, right? So did these guards turn the other cheek so that he could do that, right? That's a possibility. Yeah. That did they do an examination of their finances and their extended family's finances to find out if anybody's come into money. That one famed medical examiner, what's his name? Started to be Baden. What's his name? Okay, he's.
I know.
Oh boy, yeah, from the OJ days and all that. His examination. Yeah. He says that it because of I think it was a broken collarbone. There was a bone broken in the neck area.
No, in the neck.
In the neck. Okay, yeah. There were broken bones in the neck that he says would have been caused by strangulation from another person. He says it's a murder in his professional opinion. And if Pam Bondi would have had a press conference and said, our investigation determined nothing to see here, and this is what we did and found and investigated and spoke to and she didn't do it. She just said, nothing to see here, case closed, that's it, no, nothing else to say.
Yeah, they try to shut it down fast, everyone knows.
That's right.
I don't think we're ever going to know, even though President Trump's going to see that a lot of us are upset. He had to weigh it. It's whether we're all upset or whether it protects governments and very high people that could affect our lives on a daily basis. There's no green lighting to being a pedophile.
No, this is a cover up. And I'll tell you, like 5 minutes after the cabinet meeting, Byron Donalds, who's running for governor in Florida, and he's tight with Trump, Byron Donalds gave an interview with Benny Johnson right after this cabinet meeting, and he says, when I'm governor of Florida, I'm going to release all the Florida records on Epstein. Okay, I mean, so this is a big issue for so many people.
You know that the guy that let Epstein go, and when he had that year and a half where he got to go home and everything like that, he under oath he claimed that he was an agent from a foreign government.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is this: it's a top secret thing. We're not going to. It's determined that we shouldn't know, and there's things that the public shouldn't know. I'm sorry to say that we all want to know, but that's a decision.
Well,
made by the
I don't know. You got
it.
it. I know people assume that he's was an Israeli agent because he was Jewish. I don't know. He could have been working for us. Both. Who knows?
Yeah,
no,
I'm not saying,
I don't think so. See, this is the thing. There was that period that he got let free, but for the most part, most of his carryings on were years ago. So who's around in positions of power and authority to really be damaged by that in such a way that it has to be covered up? I just don't. I don't see that.
One more quick thing I want to say out there for people that are holier than thou about underage teenage girls. You know as well as I do, if you're honest with it, there are a lot of young ladies that look older when they put makeup on.
All right, Richie, I want to save you from yourself on that one. Oh, my goodness. I guess I'm covering up now. I'm trying to save Richie from saying something stupid. He'll be mad at me, but yeah, come on, Richie. That's crazy. All right, listen, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our break. Oh, I got to ask you, do you or someone you know suffer from neuropathy? Neuropathy's the worst. Neuropathy's the worst. When they were interrogating all those Al-Qaeda prisoners in Guantanamo Bay and they were doing the waterboarding and all of that, if they could have given them neuropathy, they would have all sung like canaries. I was waterboarded once. Steve and I, we had a personal appearance in an area so far outside our normal realm of doing appearances in a weird place. And I said, you know what? I'll get waterboarded there. And I got, did any of you go to that, my waterboarding years ago, where Steve waterboarded me? It was not fun, I'm going to tell you. But it's nothing compared to neuropathy. And I know that because I saw how neuropathy affected Steve. You know, the numbness, the pain, the burning, the tingling in the hands and feet, the muscle weakness, the dizziness, the falling down all the time, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet, maybe no feeling at all. You know, if you have those symptoms, you may have neuropathy. I'm going to give you Lighthouse Medical's number in a moment. They have a treatment for neuropathy that works. But if you have any of those symptoms that I went through, go and see them. Take advantage of the no-charge consultation. They'll examine you and find out if you have neuropathy. I remember some of I had a grandmother and a great-grandmother. My great-grandmother, on my dad's side, it seemed like every other day she was falling down and breaking something. And that was back in the 70s. I bet you she had neuropathy, and no one in the family knew. Well, Lighthouse Medical not only has a treatment for neuropathy that works, they have a treatment for neuropathy that lasts. Steve had his neuropathy treatment from Lighthouse Medical 3 years ago, and his neuropathy symptoms, they haven't returned. They can help you no matter where you're located in America. If you can't make it into their office in Pompano, that's okay. They can still help you. Here's the number, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back. If you're a Medicare recipient or about to turn 65, listen up. I want to talk to you about Medicare. Medicare, it's confusing. That's done on purpose, right? You go online, what do you find? More confusion. You know, a lot of people, they try to go it alone, or they deal with someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about, and what happens? It ends up costing them thousands of dollars sometimes each year. And also, they find out maybe their doctors or the medications, they might not be covered either. That's where Chapter comes in. You know, Chapter is the only national Medicare advisor that compares all of the over 24,000 plans out there for you. They'll find the one that's right for you and your budget. And no matter where you are in the United States, Chapter can help. You're going to get answers, you're going to get them fast, and you're going to get them for free. So whether you're on Medicare right now or turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number's also in the description of the episode. You're going to talk to a real person. They're going to walk you through everything step by step. No gimmicks, just real help. Because the right plan, it can save you thousands. Again, the number 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Get your Medicare questions answered free. 805-754-3033. Your health and your wallet will thank you. All right, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to go back to the phones. If you're new to the program, this is where MAGA comes to talk. All the calls I take are completely unvetted and unscreened. When you call in, I just put you on hold. And when you hear me say, what's your name? Where are you calling from? That's the first time I hear you. Although there are a couple people that have been on hold since before the show started. I did answer one of them because I was talking to that guy before the show. But the calls are unvetted, unscreened. Less than a minute. We'll be back. This is our bottom of the hour break for the radio stations. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. We're going to go back to the phones. We're talking about this. I'm going to call it the Bondi cover-up. Is that a good name to call this? Bondigate? Is this Bondigate? Should President Trump fire Pam Bondi? Is Pam Bondi the one covering this up? There's a lot of questions. I want to hear your thoughts. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Paul. How you doing?
All right, Paul.
Can you hear me?
I sure can. What's on your mind?
I was just kind of wondering. You don't like Pam. I get it.
I've always liked her. Hold on. I've always liked her until now.
Well, okay.
I've met her multiple times. We've had her as a guest on the program. Yeah.
I don't think so. You still there?
You don't think what?
Well, let's see.
Oh,
Did you just text me out?
No.
Okay, you're still there. Okay,
Another victim.
Okay.
Paul. No, I've met Pam. I've always liked Pam Bondi. I've met her many times. Okay. We've had her as a guest on the show in studio. I've always liked her until now.
Okay, can I just say something? Just saying, I'm from New Hampshire. I've watched everything that's been happening for over 12 years. I think she's a very good AG, but I have to say, I agree with some parts of what you're saying. The big fact with me is that everybody keeps getting caught with stupid shit.
All right, first dump of the day. Oh, my goodness. As soon as I knew he was fumbling around with problems, I knew he'd be a problem. If you're on hold, stand by. We got to wait for the delay to re-engage. What is it with the left that they can't stop using profanity? I just don't get it. We've never had it this bad. The vocabulary of liberals is just gone off the rails. Coming up in a little bit, I had the last hour of yesterday's show, the last 45 minutes of yesterday's show, and then after the show was just one of the most bizarre experiences I had, and I had a couple of things going on in the last 45 minutes of the show that I don't even hardly remember the last 30 to 45 minutes of yesterday's program because I had something. I'll tell you guys about this later. I had something happen during the show yesterday that was just awful. Then something happened during the show towards the end that I'll explain. You heard it, but you don't know that. You don't have context. I'll tell you about it. And then after the show, a couple things happened, and it was just yesterday was a mess and an exhausting day too. But I'll tell you what happened. And I don't like people contacting me about anything when I'm on the air. Okay, it's 3 hours a day. The other 21 hours a day, and most people that know me don't contact me about anything that's unrelated to the content of the program while I'm on the air. But yesterday there was a family emergency and some other things going on. I'll tell you about it later, but it was a rough day. Okay, the delay is re-engaged. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Melissa in Tennessee.
Hey, Melissa.
Hey. Well, I just had a few thoughts, and I've been thinking about this, trying to think of what's going on here. But I just think that when Trump was at the cabinet meeting, he didn't help matters by trying to butt in and take up for her. To me, that made him look not very good. Mm-hmm. And I'm just as upset with Cash and Dan as I am her because of that Fox interview they did. They just looked like a deer in headlights during that whole conversation. And I know Trump's got a lot on his plate, you know, with the wars and the economy and Powell. He's wanting the interest rates down. And maybe this just isn't important to him, or...
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're just acting like it's not important. And they're acting like it's not important, but it is important to MAGA, which I'm very MAGA. And, I'm just thinking, well, maybe she's just not fit for this job. Maybe it's just too much for her to handle. Maybe she's naive. When she tells them, and I think I've heard you say this, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but we're never going to get the list. I think you've said that. We're never going to see a list. There's nothing ever going to come of it.
Well, here's the problem, okay? And
they're not going to handle.
Hold on. I agree with everything you're saying. Everything. And Pam Bondi is in. I think she's involved in a cover-up. I agree with you that this issue is not that important to Trump. And I don't think he knew how big of an issue and how passionate so many MAGA people are about this.
Exactly.
But so far as Kash Patel and Bongino, who I've been pretty rough on since that Bartiromo interview, I'm starting to. Yesterday I started to think, well, maybe they're afraid of her because President Trump really likes Pam Bondi. Right? I mean, she's,
right.
and they work.
They go way back.
Yeah, and they work under her. And they've been friends for a long time, but now she's the boss, and she's obviously got some obsession with covering up this Epstein case. You got to understand, most of what Epstein did was Florida-based stuff. And he was on trial for things here in Florida for years before any of you ever heard of him. So she and people she's connected with have there's a lot of there's obviously a lot of conflict, and I'm starting to think they're afraid of her. That Bongino was fuming and sweating over her.
Right, and that may be true. But my other thing is when she says, bring me the files, they're not going to bring her the files. I mean, they're not going to say, oh, here's the files with the ex-president in it and everything else, They're not going to bring her the files. And I'm thinking, is she naive to think that if this is CIA, which I think it is, I think he was probably a CIA plant, and maybe they can't get these files. Maybe they have been destroyed. Maybe they're locked up.
See,
Hillary Clinton was in the.
I've been saying
Hillary Clinton's been up there for a long time doing things and hiding things and people working for her.
People don't document their crimes, okay? Especially these kind of crimes, because these are the worst you can do short of murder, right? So I have long said. There's nothing in any files or anything that are going to do anything because what I just told you, people don't document their crimes. And if there was anything of interest to use to blackmail, the deep state agencies would be holding that as blackmail material over those involved. So I never expected to get that. But what I did expect was an investigation into his death, a detailed investigation on how he would, even though he wasn't on the list.
That's why I'm upset.
Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. Okay. At the time, Epstein surrendered himself, which was very weird. I thought when he flew back, when you're a man of unlimited wealth like him, to fly back to the United States seemed crazy to me. Okay. There was only one other person I know of that did that at that level, that was involved with some other crimes, and they did it because they were terrified that they wouldn't survive if they didn't do it. But he was basically America's most wanted man, even though he wasn't officially on the list probably, but he was the most wanted fugitive and the most high-value prisoner we've had since the days of right after 9/11. And I wanted to see what I did expect from Kash Patel and Bongino. I didn't expect any list and any file. Oh, there it is. We got them all, And I never expected that. I expected a very extensive investigation into his return to America and the death. And we didn't get any of that. All we got was nothing to see here. We got a video that's missing a minute that they're all missing a minute. That's no big thing. And they didn't do any investigation. This is a cover-up. This is a cover-up of the death. That's where the cover-up is. And she's also done incredible damage to the president because Now they're going to say, oh, now we know Trump's on the list. That's why they didn't release it. And they're going to say that forever and ever now because of her.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. You know, I don't believe he's on the list. I don't think he's into any of that
We know
stuff.
he's not.
I think he thinks that's gross, and, you know, he had beautiful models. Why would he want to, you know,
If he were,
that?
if he were on that list and they had anything, it would have come out to stop him from returning to the White House.
Exactly. But yeah, that's why I'm just as upset with Dan, but like you said, that's their boss. But, you know, Kash Patel, because it looks like he was murdered to me. And yeah, you're right. It's just a lot of questions. But I was just thinking maybe she just can't handle it. Maybe it was just too big of a job for her.
To me, it
Maybe
sounded like she was
naive
upset. She's obsessed with ending this for some reason. And I've told you guys, Pam Bondi, people, you know, she's almost 60. She's 59. And everybody talks about how good looking she is. And I always tell people this.
Yeah.
She's much better looking in person. It's a weird thing. I've met actresses like this. They, you know, I don't know what it is. She's much more beautiful in person than she looks on television. I know that's a weird thing for a lot of people to grasp. And maybe she's just gotten by on her good looks her whole life. But she's definitely involved in a cover-up here.
Yeah, I think so too.
For someone.
I think so too. Yeah. All righty, that's all I was had on my mind.
Okay, we'll be right back.
What happens when the world's most... Are you looking for a...
Oh, boy. We'll be back shortly. Well, that's the question. We don't know, Big Dave, who she's covering up for. It's not Trump. It's not Trump. That we know. It's not Trump. Mm-mm. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in less than a minute, guys, so hang in there. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. We're back. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Calls on hold, stand by. We're going to go back to the phones. We're talking about, of course, this Pam Bondi cover-up, and I want to throw a couple things into the mix. Already what the left are saying, they're saying, well, of course Trump's on the list. That's why they're not releasing it. And this is becoming just a more and more commonplace. And we all know how well-informed Trump is, feeling the pulse of social media and the public out there. What has to happen and is that Trump needs to fire Pam Bondi and release all the information and do it very publicly and appoint Judge Jogn to be the acting attorney general to handle this. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. There's some things that just linger. After January 6th, I told you guys, I said, the problem we're going to have with January 6th is that the left, no matter how many riots they're involved in and everything, even though this was not a riot that it had anything to do with us, they're gonna throw this in our faces forever, and they still do. You hear the liberals say, "Oh, you guys," and it's going to be that way with this Bondi-gate that's going on. He needs to fire her, immediately appoint Judge Jogn as the acting attorney general, and release all of this. What are your thoughts on that? 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Ted from Lake Worth.
Hey, Ted. What's up?
I just wanted... Hey, man. God bless you, bro. I just wanted to... last night, Trump, on True Social, I guess, he texted or he posted a couple of comments. And the one that I, what do you call it, copy and pasted, he says, should we just fire Pam and build an entirely new Epstein case? Question mark.
Where's that? I'm looking. I just pulled it. I just pulled it up. Where?
Awesome! Excellent.
I'm look. No. I'm look. When did he say
this?
He
made another comment too. God bless you, bro.
No. Don't go anywhere. I'm not seeing it. When did he say this?
You know what? Copy and pasted it, and that's on True Social, I believe. I mean, he usually posts on all the platforms, but mine was True Social.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it on his Truth. I'm wondering if you saw a fake post or that, because I just went through his True Social. It's not there.
At 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Well, 6 p.m. would have been, 12, 13 hours ago? Okay, yeah. I'm looking 9 hours ago. There's something about Trump Boulevard. Okay. 11 hours ago, he's talking about the trade deals. 15 hours ago, he posted an interview with the Energy Secretary. 15 hours ago, he's talking about the economic issues. No, it's not there. It's not there. He didn't post that on there. It's not there. If you saw that, it was a fake. It was a fake post. If you saw that.
Okay, God bless. Yeah, if I research it here within the next couple hours and I find it, can I call you back and tell you?
Not only have to tell me, you have to show me where I can see it. And where it's connected, because I just went through his Truth Social. It's not. There's nothing there about this.
If I can show you exactly where to go, that would be,
we'll do it.
No, I copy and pasted it.
Well, you copied and pasted a fake post. All right, hey, appreciate the call. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Danielle, and I'm from Boynton Beach.
Hey, Danielle.
And I want to say, Brian, thank you for all the information you're bringing. And I want to say this is my opinion, okay, humble opinion. I think that President Trump and his cabinet are using the Epstein list as a leverage against the deep state that did that on us. I was at the gym this morning, and they were showing picture of the jail, Alligator Alley, and I was wondering, wow, we never see the picture of the jail in J6.
Yeah.
And the Epstein list, they told us that, oh, no, Epstein was good. Yeah, the video and everything, look, no, I think they want, not me, because I trust my President Trump and his cabinet. I want to tell you something. This is my opinion. I'm thinking that they're doing the same thing. Don't believe your lying eyes, because now they got everything. And the Comey and all this. Epstein, who was his attorney? James Comey's daughter. Ghislaine Maxwell, why is she in jail if she didn't do anything wrong? Who is the attorney? Oh, James Comey's daughter. I mean, all this, it's like, don't believe you lying.
Yeah, James and Comey's daughter was on the Diddy case too. She's in all these high-profile cases.
I know, and you know what? The other thing, Brian, that I always wonder. This Epstein, the video, they had like an amazing property. He had like Arizona. They had property everywhere, and we know the list. What if somebody from the Supreme Court was on that list? And I'm just telling you, President Trump, I'm going to put my faith in God, of course, but President Trump, he is using the same thing. They don't know where to look, and now people are upset. Oh, my God, fire this one. Brian, let me tell you, we've been through the ringer. The deep state, why they tried to kill our president. Mm-hmm. This has not happened since 1963. Why did they try to kill President Trump?
Originally I was thinking like you were, but the reason that I don't feel that way now is because of the way Pam Bondi carried herself at the cabinet meeting yesterday. Which the way she, I'm gonna play the audio again in the next hour. But the way she, Saigon, no. What she did was stupid. What she did was stupid. She should have. Trump tried to take over, and she couldn't keep her mouth shut.
Yeah, and don't believe you lying eyes. I mean, I listened to Bongino before, and he goes there. He is a little cat now. He was a tiger. No, I'm just telling you, they don't know where to go. They don't know what's gonna happen. And look. Let's just look what's happened.
All right. I appreciate the call. I disagree with your conclusions, but, good. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
All of a sudden, it seems like they're trying to bait us to go away from this Pam Bondi failure to now all of a sudden they're investigating Comey and the CIA director to try to get your concentration away from this thing, man. I certainly think it's Pam Bondi is behind all this. I don't trust her anymore. I thought she was going to be really great, but coming from DeSantis, I think she has too much influence from the Republican Party, maybe.
Yeah. I don't trust her anymore. I've always liked Pam Bondi, but I don't like her anymore.
Yeah, me too, man. I thought she was going to be great. But I think that
she's done. Let me tell you, she did so much damage to President Trump with this. So much damage.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I've already had calls from people who said, "Oh, we know he's on the list because they didn't release it." Great job, Pam Bondi. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I learned about her yesterday? This is something I did not know about her. Laura Loomer dropped this yesterday. Did you know that Pam Bondi's a Scientologist?
I had no idea.
And wow. What do we know about Scientologists? They're weirdos.
They're wackos, yeah, man.
Well, the Church of Scientology is here in Clearwater, Florida. That's where their headquarters are. Their Bizarro C School and everything else. And one time when she was Attorney General, she got Governor Rick Scott. He's our senator now, but he was the governor before DeSantis. Yeah. She got Rick Scott to reschedule an execution. She got it rescheduled because it interfered with a fundraiser she was doing, which is very strange. But I don't the fact that she's a Scientologist, I question her sanity. All right, 1 hour down. Thanks for the call, Doug. We'll take our break for the top and be right back. If you're a Medicare recipient or about to turn 65, listen up. I want to talk to you about Medicare. Medicare, it's confusing. That's done on purpose, right? You go online, what do you find? More confusion. You know, a lot of people, they try to go it alone or they deal with someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about, and what happens? It ends up costing them thousands of dollars sometimes each year. And also, they find out maybe their doctors or the medications, they might not be covered either. That's where Chapter comes in. You know, Chapter is the only national Medicare advisor that compares all of the over 24,000 plans out there for you. They'll find the one that's right for you and your budget. And no matter where you are in the United States, Chapter can help. You're going to get answers, you're going to get them fast, and you're going to get them for free. So whether you're on Medicare right now or turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number's also in the description of the episode. You're going to talk to a real person. They're going to walk you through everything step by step. No gimmicks, just real help. Because the right plan, it can save you thousands. Again, the number 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Get your Medicare questions answered free. 805-754-3033. Your health and your wallet will thank you. Hey, we only a few seconds, so we gotta hurry. Less. We might have to do it the next break. Yeah, wait, are you ready? Are you there, Steve? You there? Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Stand by. All right, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. And next month will begin the 49th year. And joining us on the line, Steve Kane. Hey, Steve.
How are you this morning?
Okay, now before you say a word, okay, I'm going to tell you this just to the audience. You and I have known each other for a long time, and I'm just going to describe we have not talked. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I know you're pissed. You sound pissed. Am I wrong?
It's very sensitive. You picked that right up.
See, yeah, we know each other well. As soon as I talked to you off the air, I said, "You're there." You just told, "Yeah, I'm here."
This is interesting. I'm glad let's do it this way. So, what could you? You're right. You know me very well. What the hell could I possibly be pissed at, knowing me as you do?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm talking about Pam Bondi's screw up yesterday, so it's got to be related to that.
When you say Pam Bondi's screw up, what are you referring to?
Well, I don't know. Well, tell me why you're angry.
Well, no. Dude, let's do it this way. I'm curious what you're referring to, because I've listened to what's going on. What is Pam Bondi's screw up?
Her cover-up of this Epstein case. She has messed it up so bad. She has caused so many very, very passionate Trump supporters to be angry at Trump and the administration. She's done several things with this Epstein case that have just caused a political disaster for us. And I'm very angry at her about it.
Well, I mean, Trump isn't angry at it.
I'm not so sure about that now. I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Well, the last I saw Trump last night, when I was watching, I guess it must have been a rerun of something he did earlier in the day, but Trump was pissed at reporters that kept bringing it up, pointing out that of all the important things that are going on in the universe right now, the least important is anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein, the pervert.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell is the people that he? I think he's created a monster here. See, nobody could do Donald Trump in except Donald Trump himself.
Yeah.
He created this monster with you guys with what is Magda or whatever the hell it is, and you guys are making problems for him. You know,
no, in
he
fact,
doesn't
Steve,
have with anybody else.
this Epstein, just to give guys a little history of the Epstein thing, and something happened on yesterday's show. I got to tell you about later. A little mental note, Steve. I'll tell you about later.
You know how I love that.
I got a call from someone yesterday on the air that you and I have not talked to in like 25 years or more. I'll tell you about it later. I don't want to get sidetracked.
Someone I know?
I'll tell you about it later because this is more important, and I don't want to get sidetracked with our personal stuff. Okay, but I'll tell you about it on the air later. The Epstein case has been going on for like 20 years. It was a big story in Florida and our local news for years. In fact, before
it's a national inquiry kind of case.
Let me just explain to you. Okay, I just to tell you. Okay, the Epstein case was a local story that the media locally was obsessed with. The local newspapers, Palm Beach Post, Fort Lauderdale Sun-Sentinel, Miami Herald, had him on the front page every day for years. The local news led with him every day before any of you heard of him. Steve and I have never covered the case. I've been where Steve is at. It's not important. I mean, obviously it's important. He victimized people and he was a pervert and all that. I don't mean that's not important, but it was not
a soap opera case.
It's a little deeper than that. But here's the thing, Steve. You and I are kind of like lone MAGA people with that, lone conservatives with that. The Republican movement, there are a lot of people that are very deep into this case. And Pam Bondi, I don't think the president realized how important this case was to so many of his supporters. And after that cabinet meeting yesterday, strong Trump supporters that have been friends and supporters of his forever and ever were flipping out.
What were they flipped out about?
That Pam Bondi's covering this up for some reason, that she's given the president bad advice and she's obsessed with covering this case up for some reason. And General Flynn wants her fired. Jack Posobiec, just was going off on her. She lied. A couple weeks ago, she did 2 different Fox interviews. One was with Sean Hannity and another one was with John Roberts. He's the guy on during the day with the white hair. And they both asked her point blank, do you have the Epstein list? She says, it's sitting on my desk. Now she says that doesn't exist. 2 weeks, 3
She said the Epstein file was sitting on her desk.
No, they said, do you have the list? And she says, it's on my desk. She said it twice in 2 different interviews.
I heard the interchange and it was ambiguous.
Then she said a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks back, she said in a press conference that they have all these tapes. He has thousands of tapes that this pervert made, and they're identifying them. Then yesterday in the cabinet meeting, all of a sudden, those are things he downloaded off the internet. And they did no investigation into his death. And there is so much outrage about this from some of the most prominent, vocal, influential Trump supporters in the media. And what she's done, Steve, is she's caused a scandal for the president that he didn't have before, and that's a problem. It's a PR.
They're the ones that are making a big thing over the scandal. It's a nothing thing. It's a BS thing.
So why are you mad at me? Why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the whole thing. It's ridiculous. It's stupid, and it's like these. It keeps coming for me. It keeps coming back to this MAGA deal. I mean, it's like a bunch of high school kids running, gossiping. You can't get it any better than we've had it with this election. As Don said, win, win, win. That's all we've been doing. And these idiots, the followers of some of Trump's followers, the MAGA crowd, can't be happy with success.
Well, I'm the MAGA crowd. I'm happy with his success, but she is. I give you an example, okay, Steve?
It's a nothing thing.
No, it's not. I'll tell you what.
Did you hear what Trump said about it last night?
I saw it live. Conference? Yeah, it was the cabinet meeting. I saw it live. Yeah.
So why all of a sudden we both usually agree that Trump is right on the money almost 100% of the time. Why all of a sudden now you're turning on Trump?
I'm not turning on Trump. He's got to fire her.
Sure you are.
No.
He's saying forget it. It's a petty nothing thing.
I think he's going to have. Now that after that cabinet meeting is when everything fell apart and the PR disaster happened. I'll tell you a couple things. I've already gotten calls this morning from liberals. Oh, now we know Trump's on the list. That's why they're not releasing it. So now she's created this whole narrative that's going to follow us forever. Oh, he's on the list. That's why they didn't release it. Another thing, when that cabinet meeting was over, I watched that cabinet meeting live. It was an hour, 40 minutes long, and I watched them all, but I made sure to see all of this because I knew this was going to come up, and I wanted to see what the reaction was going to be. Okay, about 5 minutes after the cabinet meeting was over, one of the strongest Trump allies, Congressman Byron Donalds, he's running for governor of Florida now, right? He's going to be our first black governor.
I know who he is. He's a great guy.
Very good. 5 minutes after that cabinet meeting, he did an interview, and he said, when I'm governor, I'm going to release all the Florida Epstein files, and he was going on about it. I mean, with the Republican base, Steve, with the Republican base, this Epstein story is very, very important. In particular, not just the list, but an investigation into his death. And Pam Bondi shut the whole thing down, and people are fuming at her. I think President Trump will reevaluate his opinion of her and of this right quick. I'm sure he is fuming. She's created this whole scandal where there was none.
She hasn't created it. These MAGA a-holes have created it.
I don't think we're a-holes, Steve. I mean, yeah. I'm pretty upset with her. She messed up. She screwed up. Big time.
But Trump is not upset with her. Trump is upset with, when I say you, I don't mean you personally. I mean the crowd that are off on this tangent, taking away from all the good stuff, concentrating on a BS tabloid story.
No, I think whenever his day was finished yesterday, he's always, listen, let me put you on hold, Steve. Let me talk first about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. And I want to tell people how we met Tom Laporta. You hear us talk about a lot in the messages for Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. If you have a wet spot on your ceiling, you have a leak in your roof, right? And you got to do something about it. Well, you had a wet spot on your ceiling. You did nothing about it. And you had a leak in your roof. And, and then you ignored it and ignored it and ignored it. The leaks got bigger and more and everything else. And you had a disaster on your hands. And we found Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing because you neglected that wet spot on your ceiling. And because you neglected it for so long, you had to get not only a whole new roof, but you had to have 40% of the drywall replaced in your house because the dampness caused that deadly black mold to grow. And there were other problems too, the termites that were eating your house because that dampness is a breeding ground for termites. It was a mess. And if you would have called Tom Laporta when you saw that first wet spot on your ceiling, you probably would have just needed a simple repair. Tom Laporta's it's amazing. Tom Laporta's a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. If you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. I'm going to give you his cell phone number. And those of you that are new to Florida, okay, we're in hurricane season. There's nothing more important than having a secure roof. And if you've got a leak in your roof, okay, that means you've got a loose shingle or a loose tile. And when those winds come from the tropical storms, tropical storms have hurricane strength wind gusts in them. They're just not sustained.
Right.
Okay? And if we get like a Cat 1 storm, hurricane, we still have Cat 3, 4, 5 wind gust. Okay? And what hurricane wind gust and hurricane winds look for is an entryway into your home. And that's what they'll find with a loose shingle or a loose tile, and boom, they'll take the whole roof off and you're done. So give Tom Laporta a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone, which means you can also text him. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, our number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. All right, Steve, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I'll tell you later who called me on the air yesterday, because if I bring
Is it someone I know?
Yeah, it was just weird. And then I'll talk to you about it after the show too, because there's one part I don't want to mention on the air. But
that's fine.
But it was a shocking, weird call. But
You're the guy that cool.
I don't want
to.
Yeah, but everybody can hear you, so don't say anything now. But I don't want to bring it up now because we got a topic here. I don't want to get away from it.
You're right.
All right, hold on. Okay, stand by. Oh, man. But we got a minute here. Okay, I want to tell everybody about our new sponsor, our Medicare sponsor. You know, I think this might be considered our first truly national sponsor, because if you're on Medicare, if you're 65 years of age or older, or you're turning 65, no matter which U.S. state you're in, Chapter can help you with your Medicare. I'm going to give you the number in a moment. The number's in the description of the video. It's also on your screen. When you call them, you're going to get a live person, okay? And they're going to answer all your questions about Medicare, and it'll cost you nothing. They'll answer all your questions absolutely free. No matter what state you're in, give them a call. They'll make sure that your doctors are covered, your prescriptions are covered. If you have a supplement, they'll make sure you're not paying too much for that supplement. You know, this one free phone call could save you thousands of dollars a year, or not making the call could cost you thousands, because you might be paying for a supplement you don't need. You might be paying for prescriptions or doctor's visits you don't have to pay for. You know, there's over 24,000 Medicare policies, over 24,000. And Chapter has access to all of them. So again, no matter what state you're in, give them a call, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. There's a description, in the description of the video, the number is there as well. Let's see. Hold on, Steve. Okay, I've got more calls than I can keep up with here. Hold on. Okay, you there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right, 30 seconds, we'll be back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here reprimanding me. You know, why don't I just let the jury of public opinion on the phone straighten out, Steve?
No. I want to have that. I want to make clear why I'm so angry. I mean, you of all people who are always so loyal to Donald Trump and who have such respect for him, he got up, he told you yesterday at that conference that I watched on television last night, he told you he's got great things going on, important things going on, major things. there were all kinds of breaking stories today. The indictment of Brennan and Comey and all these kind of things that are going on. And you're falling off on this gossipy piece of crap story that Don has told you we're wasting time.
See,
and it's costing him energy. You usually trust his judgment. And now all of a sudden you don't trust him. It's ridiculous.
I trust.
And I'm not just. By the way, I'm not just mad at you.
Yeah.
I'm mad at all these people out there that do this. You didn't do it alone.
I trust Trump with my life. Okay, and you haven't
sound like it to me.
I think Trump's opinion on Pam Bondi in this has changed since that cabinet meeting because of the outrage. I give you an example. President Trump.
He told you what he said.
But that was before. But that was
the press conference?
That wasn't last night. It was yesterday at around noontime. Okay.
Whatever.
Okay. So after that press conference / cabinet meeting is when all the fallout happened, and we haven't heard him speak since then, Steve. So I think he's plenty ticked off at her. She's caused him a lot of problems. And I just don't. I don't think we've heard him speak about it since. We may not. He may not.
You don't think he's ticked at you if he's listening?
No,
because he does listen to the show.
Nope.
You don't think he's ticked at you for making a whole show out of this thing that he basically told you yesterday? Forget about it,
Steve. If it were just me, maybe, but it's not. I mean, Byron Donalds was talking about it. You know, I mean, come on. Jesse Waters last night had Patrick Bet-David on. Saying the same thing. Well, these are like personal friends of his that hang out with him. Jesse Waters went, Don and Eric came to his wedding.
There are a lot of people who have gotten bit by this bug, and it's not a good thing for the country. It really is not. I think what we have going here is a great momentum on all kinds of fronts, and I expect those hostile to Trump to call in with this. Not people who are supposed to be his friends.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, it is what it is, man. I mean, the fallout is crazy, and now Elon is going to use this issue to build up this obscene party that he's putting together.
Another winner.
I know. So she caused him a problem yesterday because she couldn't keep. He tried to save her. He jumped in when she was asked, and she couldn't keep her mouth shut. And she said stupid stuff, okay, when she spoke, when he tried to get her not to speak. There's no way that he's not pissed. There's no way Trump's not pissed at her for going off about this after he tried to shut her down. Do you want to take some calls or not?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, I can't believe there aren't people out there that don't see who like Trump, who don't see how negative this is.
Okay. All right. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian and Steve. It's Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff.
Jeff, how are you?
Hey, good, Steve. Listen, I agree with you, Steve, and Brian on this point. Trump knows what he's doing, and I just believe beyond hope that near and dear to his heart is these children that are being sex trafficked all over the world, and it's not just in America. And I believe there's things going on behind the scenes, and this might be a deflection for them to keep doing what they're doing, because these people. Remember in his first term, he said
this is not
these people are
Jeff,
sick.
You're way off base here. This has nothing to do with the sex trafficking that is going on with Mexico and all this kind of stuff that they're investigating. This has to do with the Epstein case. So you're way off base. Thank you for your call, though. Anyway, I love talking to you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Didn't I tell you? I knew you were ticked off. Soon as I heard your first syllable.
I can't believe there aren't other people who are ticked off as well.
I'm ticked off at Pam Bondi. And I bet you Trump is. In that cabinet meeting, Steve, he tried to stop her from talking, and she couldn't help herself. And she said stupid stuff.
She tried to cover it.
That's the problem. Cover it up. That's the thing. Yeah, she was trying to cover up the story.
Her cover was good enough for me.
Okay. All right. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, hi, Brian. This Steve. This is Ted again. I'm just calling back. It's on the L. Donald Trumpo feed, right?
That's not Trump. That's not Trump. That's a parody site. All right. All right. Take care. Oh my. It's a parody site. Oh my goodness. I agree with you that I would like not to have to talk about this, but it's got to be discussed.
About it. You of course you don't. I mean,
no.
What about Comey? What about Comey and Brennan? What a great story that is.
Well,
that's going to be a real.
Hold on a second here. Hold on. Let me answer all these 5,000 calls that are coming in. The story with Brennan and Comey, okay, that's good. But it's not. They have not been indicted, and Pam Bondi had nothing to do with it. Radcliffe.
I don't know. It's not related to Pam Bondi. It's important.
Well, no.
More important than Pam Bondi.
No, it is. It is related to Pam Bondi. Radcliffe, who's the director of the CIA, sent a criminal referral to the FBI. So Pam Bondi and Kash Patel did not indict or anything. Radcliffe, at the CIA director, he's a good guy, sent a criminal referral to Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. So, part of the problem is, Steve, this is part of the problem you're not getting, okay? I believe President Trump brought in Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi to take down these lawfare people. And they haven't done any of that. Even this thing with Comey and Brennan, Radcliffe had to throw it at him, and she spent her first effort is to this Epstein cover up. Her priorities are not what we thought they would be. I'm sorry. I mean, and Trump's got to be pissed at her. Got to be. You haven't seen the blowback from this, I don't think. I mean, Jack Posobiec, I thought he was going to have a stroke on the air yesterday. And I mean, he was like having physical reactions. He was so angry. And there was.
He should grow up.
Well, all right. Well, let's find out what the jury of public opinion thinks. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name?
Hey, Brian and Steve. It's Patty from New Jersey.
Hey, Patty.
Hey,
Patty from New Jersey. How are you guys this morning?
Angry.
So, yeah, I'm angry too, Steve. And not unfortunately, I definitely agree with Brian. I feel let down. Trump ran on certain issues, and the Epstein files were definitely some of them. Now, I don't care about. I don't want to see the evidence or anything like that, but there were people who he was supplying with underage kids. There are victims out there. Virginia Guthrie was a victim, and mysteriously, about a month and a half or 2 months ago, she
what does that got to
deleted herself.
Help me here, dear. Help me to understand this. What does that got to do with Donald Trump?
What do you mean? Our Justice Department? He is our head of our.
He's the president of the United States, and he got up and he said, "We're on a great roll here, and I can't believe that not you personally,
Steve, that means,
but you people out there are picking on this inconsequential, petty tabloid crap."
No, almost had the dumb Steve. Almost, not quite though.
Don't get dumped. But no, Steve, you have to understand, we are talking about, all right, let's just go with this.
Uh-oh, the line went dead. Her line went dead.
Prince Andrew
there, she's back. Okay, she's back now.
With her because he was guilty, all right? He was guilty of, there's pictures of him with her, so we know that influential people have I understand that he's dead, but there are a lot of people out there that are not dead, Steve. There are a lot of people out there that they're covering up for. And that's not what we demand justice in this country. And there are victims. And you know what? Steve, How could you defend this? I mean, yes, we are on a good road. We're very proud of Trump. We're very proud of him. But you know what? If you have influential people, let me ask you a question. You have a lot of kids. If you had one of your children who had been sexually assaulted, now this is very sensitive to me because I went to school with a guy who was sexually assaulted by a sheriff's officer, and the power that he had over that kid, he never came out and told anybody, even though
what does that got to do with Donald Trump?
It does, Steve, because our Justice Department, first of all, one of the highest profile inmates died in a federal prison. Why? All right, he was on suicide watch. Why can't you see all of the craziness that's around this case and know that this is a cover-up? And, you know, we want answers. We
on
want
my
people,
list of important things, this ranks somewhere around -1 infinity.
All right, so let me ask you a question. What about Clapper, Brennan, and Comey with this Russia thing? You think we should just freaking forget about that too?
No, are you kidding? That's the story of the day. I want to see those guys go to jail.
But the thing is, right, we want people put in jail. We want people held accountable. And that's one of the issues, along with a list of others, all the crap they did to Trump, all right, all the stuff that happened.
The person that needs to be held responsible here is dead. D.D.
Steve, he was supplying highly. Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail for 20 years? Because she was trafficking women. We care. I can't believe that you're discarding that.
All right. I'll try to get my priorities straight.
Listen, we got a break. So, hey, listen, thanks for the call. I agree with you, caller. I disagree with Steve. I'm gonna put you and everybody else on hold, Steve. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Back after this. Steve, you there? Yeah, lost you. Hold on. Okay. Hey, there's... All right, Steve, hold on. We're at the bottom of the hour break. Hold on, Steve. Okay. 2 minutes, we'll be back. You there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm
All
here.
right, 90 seconds. You're not going to find one caller agreeing with you today, I'll predict. Let's
That's
see.
what I want to see.
Let's find out. Let's find out. Is there one caller that'll agree? All right, 1 minute. Twenty seconds. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane's here. You know, Coastal Weight Loss Secret, people lose 20 to 30 pounds in the first month or two regularly. I lost 25 pounds in 3 weeks, and I've lost over 35 pounds total, and which is absolutely amazing. And remember, I lost all this weight without any exercise, zero exercise, eating foods I would normally eat, and without any prescription medications like Ozempic. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Set up your free consultation. And remember, no matter where you are in the United States, they can help you. We have listeners from all over America that have called Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and they're losing lots of weight, just like I did. Here's the number. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossSecret.com. All right, well, you're going to be a man alone today on this, I'm predicting, Steve. But you want?
Well, let me tell you something. To me, the most shocking thing about the whole thing is that what you've done to my audience. I can't believe it. I can't believe there's not a single Steve Kane listener out there that it sees the point that I'm trying to make.
Okay, well, we'll find out.
You destroyed my listeners.
Oh, please. You think I did this? No, this is an important issue to conservative voters.
I've taken too much time off.
Okay, all right. Well, you're here today. Maybe you'll wise up, Steve, by the end of the show and say, you know what? These guys they're on to something. All right, let's go to the phones. We go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Milo, Cuyahoga Falls.
Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, Milo, yes. Cuyahoga Falls. I 100% agree with Steve. I feel like...
There you go, Steve.
Well, first of all, I don't remember them ever talking about a incriminating client list. I heard about the list for everyone that used the flights and stuff, but I don't remember there ever being some incriminating list that they were going to take people to court on and arrest them all. I mean, I personally don't remember that.
Well, part of the problem.
I think the Democrats created this whole conspiracy.
Okay. Part of the problem
about Jeffrey
is
Epstein, having a list.
Okay, hold on. Part of the problem is Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino have spent years talking about this list and how they wanted to reveal the list.
Yeah, but they're following the narrative that the Democrats set up when Trump was trying to get reelected. I mean, it's just a conspiracy. And not only that, but you can
right.
You can't just put a list. You can't put a list of people out there, okay? Because first of all, that's slander, correct? Unless you're going to arrest them and bring evidence and charges, bring all of these victims.
No, listen, this memo. Okay,
The story story is stale. The story is stale and rotten.
No.
It's been around forever. Bill Clinton was who took the flights, and the girls.
No, the flights and the list are different. The flights and the list are different. Those are different lists.
There's never been a time where they said, "Oh, this is the list we have." The Democrats, right? The AG back, during Biden or whatever, or it was before Biden, correct? Right. So it would have been.
Listen, this is the problem. Pam Bondi said multiple times since she's been Attorney General that she had the list. It was on her desk. Now it doesn't exist.
She didn't say, I have a list of people that were actually abusing
This
children.
is what she said. She was asked.
We're going to use to arrest them.
She was asked.
Is the list if you don't have evidence?
She said she was asked by Sean Hannity on Fox and John Roberts on Fox, do you have the Epstein list? It's sitting on my desk right now, Sean. It's sitting
what good is the list if you don't have evidence to back it up that list is any credible? He could have had a list of potential buyers.
She referred to the papers.
Then she said,
the case file.
and then she said that they have thousands of creepy tapes that he made with all these victims. Yesterday she said that that's not true.
Do you want to contact everybody and say, hey, do you want to?
No.
Verify?
Now she said that's.
You can't go after.
She said those tapes don't exist.
There's no evidence to go to court.
Well, because any.
And
one last thing, she okay. Thanks for the call. When she sent out this memorandum, Steve, on Sunday, she also said that Jeffrey Epstein never blackmailed anybody. That's not true either. And that memo that she released through Kash Patel on Sunday night. Okay, I mean, so come on. There's something's rotten with Pam Bondi, and then plus
I don't know who he blamed. This story is irrelevant.
And then I find out yesterday from Laura Loomer that Pam Bondi's a Scientologist. That's crazy. I was shocked to learn that. Did you know she was a Scientologist?
No.
Yeah, I mean, those are Scientologists are weirdos. I remember you used to have the Scientologist on the radio all the time, giving them grief for good reason. Remember those shows? I question anyone's sanity who's a Scientologist. That doesn't bother you?
What has it got to do with what we're talking about?
Well, I question the sanity of anyone who's a Scientologist. That's crazy. That's totally insane.
But what has that got to do with what we're talking about?
Well, because Pam Bondi is the woman in charge, and she's a Scientologist.
Well, you're saying she's crazy.
I just think that's weird. I don't know if anybody. I never knew that. I don't know if the president
knew. What it has to do with what we're talking about.
It goes to her sanity. What I would like to see is.
So now we're saying Pam Bondi's insane.
Scientology is a weirdo thing. They call it a religion.
I'm dumbstruck.
What I would like to see is for the president to fire Pam Bondi and make the United States attorney or the United States attorney for the District of Columbia, Judge Jogn, the acting attorney general. That's what I'd like to see, and Judge Jogn will get to the bottom of everything. That's what I would like to see. And I'm not alone in that.
I think we should appoint you, and you can get to the bottom of everything. You seem to be obsessed with the case.
I'm not a lawyer. You got to be at least an attorney to be the attorney general. I'm not an attorney, but Judge Jogn is.
What the problem is?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what I'm doing. I wouldn't know how to do that job. I wouldn't know how to do that job. No, but I think Judge Jogn would know. I would trust Judge Jogn with that job, no doubt about it. I learned something about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment that I was unaware of, and it seems to make sense once he told me, but it never really occurred to me. The laser away pain treatment works on all these aches and pains you have. I talk about them a lot, and the first time he rid me of pain was my knee pain in my right knee that I had suffered from for over 20 years. And that was 3 years ago this month. And not only did he rid me of that knee pain, here we are 3 years out, and Dr. Appleton's laser away pain treatment, the pain is not returned. So, I mean, he's over 20 years of suffering gone, and 3 years later it hasn't returned. It's amazing. But, the laser treatment works with car accidents. When you're in a car accident, your body tenses up and you have all kinds of injuries, shoulder injuries, the neck injuries, the whiplash and all of that. And the laser treatment treats all of those injuries, those pains that you're suffering from car accidents. And I learned something from Dr. Appleton. These insurance companies, Steve, they got a good racket going. Do you know that if you don't go and see your doctor for treatment within 2 weeks after your accident, they're not going to cover you? Isn't that crazy? So if you've been in a car accident, whether you're a driver, a passenger, in an Uber or Lyft accident, go see Dr. Appleton. Walk-ins are welcome. Appointments are never necessary, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, callers on hold. You stand by. We're going to take our last break of the second hour and be right back. Steve, you there? It's me. Okay, we're back. I lost you when we went to break, but you're back. Hold on. Okay, stand by, Steve. Okay. A little more than 2 minutes, we'll be back. Less than a minute, we'll be back.
Hello?
Yep. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
Can hardly hear you.
All right, hold on. How about now?
Oh, very little better.
Nah, I'll try one more time. Okay, you there?
I hear you now.
Okay. All right, 20 seconds.
I don't know about the callers, though.
All right, well, it's going fine so far.
You get my message from Lori?
No, I'll check. Hold on. No. All right, we are back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. It's the Steve Kane Show. We've had one caller agree with you, Steve, so that's good. I will say, though, this criminal referral of Comey and Brennan is great. You know, a lot of people don't know this about Brennan. Brennan was CIA director under Obama. You know, he converted to Islam and speaks Arabic.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't look like your typical Muslim, does he? No, and he doesn't publicly speak Arabic. but he does. And what I thought was interesting about this, because it's very unusual. It was a criminal referral from the director of the CIA, Radcliffe. Oh, I like Radcliffe. He looks like one of the guys from Mad Men. I don't know. He just looks like one of those guys, but he's really good. He's the CIA director. And it referred Comey and Brennan to the FBI.
Yeah, they're going to indict them.
I hope so. And and what the criminal referral is for is very specific. It's about their crafting the Russiagate, and that was
a disgrace.
Well, I want to remind people about that, okay? Because there was some, the CIA is forbidden from operating inside the United States. It's against the law. It's federal law. And they ran an op on Trump during the campaign. If you remember, and excuse me, guys, I'm all choked up here. If you remember, they set up Don Jr. Someone that Don Jr. knew got in touch with him and said, "Hey, can you meet with this lady about something or other?" And he said, and out of his friendship, he said, "Okay." And this happens. Sometimes people will get a meeting with you or me because they're a friend of somebody.
This.
And she was Russian. And the whole meeting was stupid. And Jared Kushner was there and Don Jr. They got out of there right away. So
it was a setup.
It was a setup by Brennan and Comey. And they used that and one other thing too, that one contact that they made with General Flynn, that they set him up on to get the FISA warrant, to get the wiretap on Trump Tower. And the purpose of the wiretap on Trump Tower, which was not just the campaign headquarters, but was the president's home, is they wanted that wiretap to try to find dirt for the Hillary Clinton campaign. And I believe that remember that thing about the Access Hollywood tape? I think they found out about that through that wiretap because they were probably talking about, what are some things that might come out? And they were and that's how they heard about it. Same thing with...
those two guys belong in jail, no question of that.
Yeah, so they were running an intelligence op on Trump a couple of times, and that I believe they have physical records of. I don't think Radcliffe sent this over on a hunch. And it could not happen to two worse guys. Those two guys are evil. All right, back to the phones we shall go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, hi, Brian. This is Mike from SFjr.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, I just want to maybe throw in a fact here that'll help Steve calm down and maybe explain why Trump was honestly indignant, but the fact that the memo by Pam Bondi's office came out after the disaster in Texas, it's like where the Democrats say, don't let a disaster go to waste.
Yeah.
Wait until something occurs and then throw this out there, get it under the rug, and then Trump had rightly been angered by the question because of what is immediately happening.
Yes,
but
that's
the
true.
Fact is, right? Yes, I think that, Steve, I think if you take that factor into account, you could see the possibility that
I'm a little confused on the point you're making. It could just be I'm slow today.
I'm just saying that Bondi was the dishonest one in putting out the memo
Correct.
Right after the disaster occurred.
Yeah.
So Trump is concentrating on the disaster, and Bondi is hiding behind letting him become angry.
It makes the other issue petty. It just points out how meaningless the other issue is.
Well, it makes it petty temporarily because of the immediacy of the disaster in Texas, but it doesn't eliminate it as a fact that it's very important. Mm-hmm. It's just that Bondi used it as a way of
trying to bury. Okay, I see. Okay, you think she tried to bury a story through the disaster?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And got Trump fell into her.
See, what my anger
imagination.
is with Pam Bondi is this. We've got a good thing going, man, with Donald Trump's second term. I mean, this is the most perfect presidency ever, and this will never reoccur.
Yes.
And what she has done is create such a PR disaster for
She
him.
hasn't done it. She hasn't done it. Followers of Trump and people that are supposed to be on Trump's side have done it.
Well,
MAGA people have done it.
Steve, we are, and I know you insulted a whole segment of MAGA who see this as important. This isn't not important. This is important. It's just that Trump needs to immediately respond to the catastrophe, the natural disaster.
He's going there Friday.
The issue with the cover-up of pedophilia, massive pedophilia ring, this is more important than practically anything that Trump could deal with.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a deep state pedophilia ring going on, that needs to be
There's no evidence of that.
Well, there's evidence that
the other thing is the guy's dead. For
Steve,
crying out
this is the
loud.
thing, though. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have spent the last 4 years telling us that it was true on their shows every day.
Maybe it was right to. Maybe it's more important than the people dying and the storm.
Steve, I just want to point out.
Maybe I should re-examine my priorities. Maybe it's more important than all those people that got killed.
Steve, I would like to just say that when this became so big about this pedophilia ring and everything, I said to my friend who was an ever-Trumper, I said, I myself would like to see the end result of this, because unlike Democrats who listen to people like Schiff, who went about saying they had evidence of Trump being a spy for Putin, I said they elected this guy to senator after all of this. MAGA are intelligent people. We believe in if something is put out there by our own side, we want to see it through to the actual factual truth. We don't let it fester and get irate, and then when it turns out to be not true, pretend like it never happened.
Okay, so you disagree with Trump's remarks yesterday concerning the matter when he said that it's time to move on.
No, I honestly believe he was honest in his indignation at it coming up at that moment. But I believe that Bondi
caller, hold on a second.
on that.
A lot of the problem we're having is that the director of the FBI and the deputy director, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, spent every day for the last 4 years telling us that all this Epstein stuff was true. The FBI's covering it up. And now what? Were they lying then? Were they just making stuff up, or are they covering things up now? That's a problem.
We don't know. We don't know that in fact there isn't a story there, but that maybe that they're not pushing it at this point because they're still working on it.
All right. Hey, listen.
We don't know any of that.
Listen, caller. I appreciate the call.
Could I quickly?
No, we're short on time. I got to get us on schedule. You know, I want to tell you guys about Jupiter Joe Thomas. This is amazing. Okay. You know, when you invest in the stock market and everything, not only do you have to worry about the ups and downs, which you don't have to worry about with annuities through Jupiter Joe, but listen to this. Do you know you can get a 10% bonus on your investment into an annuity before you even leave Jupiter Joe's office? You can make 10% on your money. One of our listeners, Bruce, just did that. He's a longtime Steve Kane listener. Steve, he's been listening to you since the 80s, and he went to see Joe Thomas. He got in touch with me right away. He made 10% before he even left the office, and you can too. Give Joe a call. You know, it's a no-charge consultation. He's going to put together a custom portfolio based on your situation, your needs, your wants, your guaranteed income for the rest of your life. Make sure you ask him about that 10% bonus. But here's something I often forget to leave out. You know that you never have to pay any commissions? No. The insurance companies pay the commissions, so that's amazing. So there's no commissions either. So give him a call. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. Callers on hold, you stand by. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian Craig. And our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. The lines are on fire. I mean, every line is lit up on the board, and I just added a bunch of new lines. We have more lines than we've ever had at any radio station we've been at, Steve. All right, hour number 2 is down. Hour number 3 begins now. All right. You there, Steve?
Yes.
All right, stand by. No, I didn't get a message from Lori. Tell her to text. Oh, okay. Yes. I got her question, and the answer is yes.
Okay, good.
We got to speak in code so you guys can't hear everything. Oh, my goodness. I wouldn't be surprised if everything gets released now, because the outrage from this is I've never seen people this pissed off in the Republican movement before. Never. And believe me, Trump knows. Kash Patel and Bongino may get fired over this.
First of all, both Kash Patel and Bongino haven't shown me very much so far.
No, they suck. Hold on, Steve. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, no, they haven't done anything, really.
No. And Dan looks like he's freaked out.
Mm-hmm. It's like he got a job he doesn't know how to do. It's like if they made me the attorney general, I'd be sweating too. I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know? But if I
agree with that.
But if I spend 4 years telling everybody what a badass cop I was, and then I become like the number 2 cop in America, and I can't do it.
Yeah, all right. That has a ring of truth about it.
You know, exactly. Oh my gosh. You know, we have more lines than any radio station we've ever been at, and I added a bunch of lines, and they're all lit. This is
must have been something we said.
Oh, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's. Okay.
Would I love to see these guys go to jail?
Okay, we got a minute. Oh, Brennan and Comey? Absolutely.
Comey and Clapper.
Absolutely. They're the worst. The worst.
That would be good. That would restore my faith in the justice system.
Ugh. All right, hour number 3 has begun, and we have one opening on our board at 1-888-465-2631. I'll tell you this, Steve. I hope that they come. You know, if Pam Bondi wants to resurrect herself, come back with an indictment right quick on Brennan and Comey, because they've been referred to the FBI. A criminal referral has been made from Radcliffe at the CIA.
Yes,
and seeing those two,
and that's what they should be working on, not
Agreed.
wasting their time on this nonsense.
Agreed.
And by the way, as far as Epstein with the pedophilia thing, it sounds, you know, for people trying to attack the Trump side, the pedophilia ring sounds great, but it wasn't pedophilia. I mean, some of the girls were a little underage, but it wasn't like they were doing it with, with kids.
8-year-olds. I know. Yeah, I forget what you call it with the older the teenagers, but it's not pedophilia. There's another name for it. I can't remember. All right. Well, listen, you want to go back to the phones. What do you want to do?
Sure.
All right. Let's go. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Nicole. I'm calling from Detroit.
All right, Nicole.
Hey, Steve. I'm calling because I encountered this Pam Bondi stuff, and it's nothing there. She don't have no evidence. So y'all want her to keep going on it, pretending, making a fake case. They don't have anything. She probably thought it was, and she probably overspoke. But when she got in there, it's nothing there, and it's time to move on. There's nothing there. And they're not there to do our individual bidding on who we want to be arrested. They real law people. They have a job to do.
And if there was somebody there, it's over. The guy's dead.
Well, Steve,
it's a dead case.
Steve, part of the problem is why did Pam Bondi have to rush in and make such a big deal about this case? You know, if you had half a brain cell, you would know this would be a disaster.
There's an answer to that question. The reason she rushed in is because.
Okay. Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
The reason she rushed in was because of all the pressure she was getting from upstairs, largely in terms of Bongino and the other upper echelon that were pushing her.
Yeah. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Louise, the masked lady in Boca.
Yes, Louise.
Hey, Louise.
Yes, Steve, I agree with you and the president wholeheartedly. Who cares with all that's going on in this world? This is as important to me as DeSantis's high-heeled boots. I mean, it's ridiculous to make a whole issue, a whole program out of this.
It's like the National Enquirer.
It's the number one story.
Ridiculous.
It's the number one story in America.
Oh, come on. Who cares?
That's ridiculous. And it's not in the paper today.
All these women, Epstein, and so on, Bill O'Reilly, ruin their lives. All a woman has to say is no. Were these girls kidnapped? Who gives a crap?
So says the lady who's been oxygen deprived for 5 years wearing that mask.
No, I'm not oxygen deprived. I just find it totally unimportant. I don't care about their sex lives.
Thank you for your support, Louise.
Yeah, even
on behalf of Donald Trump, I thank you.
All right, Louise,
Yeah.
take care. I don't think you can knock that down as an agreement. She just disagrees with whatever I say. So I think that's what all her opinions are based on. Whatever I say, she's got Brian Craig derangement syndrome.
It seems to me there are more than a few people out there starting to agree with me.
Yeah, I think we've had 3 people agree with you, maybe 4. We'll give you 4. Let's just say 4. We'll put in your favor 4.
Take another call.
Yeah, we will. All right, our number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Oh, Steve, I went through our extensive records. Lighthouse Medical rid you of your neuropathy symptoms 3 years ago this month.
3 years. Wow.
3 years. So this is when you're suffering from neuropathy, it's living hell. So you're just thinking about, I need to get rid of this now because I'm in pain, I'm dizzy, and everything else. And you're not worried about you just want immediate relief, which you pretty much got. But yeah, Lighthouse Medical treated you 3 years ago. So you've been 3 years without your neuropathy symptoms destroying your life. They've been gone. And so this is an interesting thing about Lighthouse Medical in Pompano. They have a treatment for neuropathy. They have a treatment that works and a treatment that lasts. You're like our case study here, 3 years and going strong. I'm going to give you their number. Now listen, Lighthouse Medical, they understand that if you have neuropathy, it may be hard for you to get out of your house, even if you're local. So no matter where you are located in the United States, they can help you with your neuropathy. All right? Telemedicine is available. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show so you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. But I'll tell you, Steve, if Pam Bondi came in with a quick indictment on Comey and Brennan, or at least a press conference detailing their crimes, this would disappear instantly.
I agree.
Yeah, so let's see if she's smart enough to do that. I would love to see that. And let me tell you, out of all the lawfare people, those two are the worst because, especially Comey, Brennan, and all this lawfare against Trump, Brennan and Comey are two of the leaders of the committee of lawfare against President Trump, especially Comey involved in everything.
Well, maybe Pam is listening this morning. Maybe she'll pick up on our clue.
Yeah, I mean that would change everything. And now that she's got the criminal referral, she can do just that. And I'll give them another tip. Perp walk. We want a perp walk. We want to see Comey and Brennan in cuffs being walked into some government building. I don't care which one it is. It could be the Department of Housing. I don't care. And Urban Development. It could be the Indian Affairs. But they need to be perp walked. They need to be cuffed. Okay, and walked into a federal building and be indicted. I mean, these are some bad guys. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. My name is Sandra from Indiana.
Yes,
Sandra.
And hey.
Can we call you Sandy?
I prefer Sandra. Sorry.
That's a no, Steve.
Okay, Sandra.
He's trying to bond with you.
Yes.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Thank you. Okay, I don't want to get into an argument, but I have never heard anybody actually come out and say, what if it was your child, your grandchild, your cousin, your this or that? And this goes as far as the Epstein and also the illegal immigrants and all these politicians, liberal politicians that take up for them and protest for them and go to El Salvador and have a margarita with them, would they still feel the same way about these situations if it were their child, their grandchild, their cousin, or whatever that were sexually molested by Epstein or killed by an illegal immigrant? No one has never asked that question. Would you still back them if they had done that, or would you still want justice done?
Yeah.
And yes, most of Hollywood is Scientology.
You know, I was surprised that she's a Scientologist, which is really strange. But, you know, Megyn Kelly said on her show yesterday, this is a quote from Megyn Kelly, either Pam Bondi knew she was about to embarrass some of Trump's most loyal surrogates. These are the people that are upset about this. Or she didn't investigate the case and take time to even look into it. I think the fact that she's a Scientologist, I just question everything that she does now. I learned that for the first time yesterday, and every Scientologist I've ever known is a freak.
It is a very cultish, so-called religion. Mm-hmm. And as far as Pam Bondi and the list, the only conclusion I can come to is there are so many international names on that list that it would be catastrophic to find out.
See, I agree that it's that it's possible that there's no list, but there was a list, and there's some reports that say that Merrick Garland, when he was Attorney General, destroyed the list. So I just think, the way she handled it, she just messed up PR-wise. Let's say if everything she says is true, which I'm not saying it is, but let's just say everything she says is true. The way she presented it to the American people was a PR disaster. She needed to have a major press conference detailing their investigation and their conclusions, and she didn't do that. She said, nothing here, that's it, we're not talking about it anymore.
All right, thank you for your call.
All right, appreciate the call. All right, we're coming up on our break, and we're going to be checking in with Attorney Barry Siegel in a couple of minutes. But, yeah, I mean, you would agree, Steve, that she messed up PR-wise, right?
Well, it certainly would appear that way, but it's,
Mm-hmm. All right.
Nothing to deserve the grief she's getting here.
Okay. All right. I'm going to put you on hold and put everybody else on hold. And I've never seen the phone so busy. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back. Steve, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to put you on hold. I got to get Barry. Hold on. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey, Barry, hold on. Steve, you there? Hey, Steve, hold on. Steve, you there? Steve? I don't know. I keep losing you. Hold on. Okay. Steve, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to conference in Barry.
Yeah.
Okay, Barry, stand by. We have 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. We are back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, what do you have for us today?
Hey, Brian. This morning I have the fact that at the Siegel Law Group, we believe strongly in education. We believe that the education will help people avoid making incorrect, bad decisions that could have a major effect on them and their family, even possibly for generations. And that's why we do education. That's why we do seminars, to educate people to make those right decisions and motivate them to do the right thing that they need to do. And so as far as the upcoming educational opportunities you have with our firm, tomorrow at 2 p.m. in our Boca Raton, at the Spanish River Library, there's going to be a living trust workshop that we're doing, as we do from time to time. And also on July 19th, which is a Saturday, in the morning at 10 a.m. in our office, we're doing another one on the long-term care planning, the Medicaid planning, the elder law issues that can affect your ability to keep your assets as you age, to run out of money during your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So between those two things, we know that we've gotten a heavy response on both. But if you're interested, now is a good time to try to get in if there's any spots left. Otherwise, certainly we'll be announcing further ones on this show and on our website. On the events page, upcoming events.
Absolutely. Now the Medicaid planning seminar is on the 19th. That's a week from Saturday. That's the one I'm going to go to. So if you guys want to meet me, be there. And I'm looking forward. I haven't done an appearance on a Saturday. I can't remember when. So come out. I hope to see you there. You're going to get a lot of good information, and you get to meet Attorney Barry Siegel and his great staff. And then you have one tomorrow at the Spanish River Library in Boca. Now, these events are free, but Attorney Barry Siegel asks that you call and let them know you're coming, especially the one on the 19th, because it's at the Siegel Law Group's main office in Boca. So there's a lot more limitation to the amount of people. So they need to know how many chairs and such that they have. Here's the number. Call the Siegel Law Group. They open up at 8:30. Okay, reserve your spot. Get locked in. 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. If you missed the number, go to the website, SiegelLawGroup.com, and you'll find the number there, SiegelLawGroup.com. And I hope to meet all of you on Saturday the 19th, a week from Saturday, at Barry's office. I've not been in person to your new office, Barry, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, come early. I'll show you around.
I will definitely be there early. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week. All right, take care. All right, I'm looking forward to that. You haven't been to Barry's new office. I know you had to update your stuff. So, yeah. You know, your kids, some of your kids are pissed that I'm the trustee and the executor of your trust. You know that, right? Have they told you they're pissed off about that?
No.
It doesn't mean I'm inheriting everything, you know.
It's good to have somebody on the outside do it.
You know, I'll tell you, I think the reason I think I'm the trustee on many trusts. I'm a very trustworthy guy, but you know, anyway, we'll talk about that another time. But let's just go back to the phones, and I don't know. You've gotten more support out there than I expected. You know. Did I lose?
Well, it's because I was right.
No, I didn't. You didn't get the majority of the support so far, but let's go. All right, you're on the air.
A little longer, it would turn my way.
Yep, you're on the air.
It has actually. The last 4 or 5 calls have gone my way.
Yeah, mask lady, I wouldn't count her. She just hates me. You're on the air, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Barbara in Baltimore. I just thought I'd call in. I don't agree that this is the number one story. I think the number one story is what's happening in Ukraine and what President Trump and what these new weapons going over there is. But I do have my opinions about Epstein if I have time to talk about it.
Give us a condensed version.
The condensed version is this. Jeffrey Epstein is a horrible person. He's being thrown in and actually minimizing, in my opinion, what really happens with pedophilia and sex trafficking of children. People need to understand something. These young ladies, these little 17, 16-year-olds, they were the fatherless girls who partied. They had fake IDs. They made money traveling to exotic places. Epstein proves that. We see that. We know that's what happened. And if you doubt it, just look at the Diddy tapes at what young girls without fathers or without stable homes are willing to do. 15, 16 is kind of old, really, because they get the fake ID. They got the eyelashes on. They got the short dresses on. They go, hey.
Yeah, I can tell you've been paying attention. Thank you very much.
No, yes, I'm paying attention.
All right. There you go. All right, let's back to the phones. You're on the air. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Gene, and I live in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
Hey.
Hey, Gene.
Hi, glad to meet you. Hey, I've been listening to this whole thing with this Pam Bondi thing. I think maybe she might have jumped the gun when she said she had it on her desk to look at. And I think this has far more reaching implications than everybody's thinking about. This has to do, yes, the victims you feel sorry for, but it has more than the atrocities that these people performed. There's probably a lot of people, politicians, religious leaders, world leaders, movie stars. A lot of those people are probably on that list.
Rather than go on with the list, give me the name of 2 of them.
Well, I don't know for sure. I can't name anybody.
There you go. You don't know what you're talking about. Get off the phone.
You know, there was one thing. There was that one thing that came up in that cabinet meeting yesterday that I hope happens. Did you hear? Did you watch the cabinet meeting or just some of the highlights in the news?
I watched. I was in and out on it. I watched most of his cabinet meeting.
President Trump he's thinking about taking over D.C. to rid them of crime. That would be beautiful. That would be so nice. I mean, it is so dangerous in D.C. and it's been run by these liberals. Or for some reason they think criminals are, I don't know, heroes or something. But a federal takeover.
He'll do it in his next term.
Yeah, good. I'd do it in this one too. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Steve and Brian. Good morning. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, Steve. You know, I'm pretty much agreeing with you on this, Steve. Probably 110%. I just don't. People have gone crazy about this Epstein story. I don't think there's anything to cover up because there was nothing left from the Biden FBI CIA, to cover up. And Pam Bondi, look, people, they misspeak. They mishear, they misinterpret. Nobody's perfect. When she said it was on my desk, and she even brought this up in the Knights of the Round Table, she said that, I was referring to the files. Then she mentioned
the case files.
JFK. Yeah, the case files. So I just think, the guy who did this, he's dead. The other woman, she's in prison. And the thing is, we speculate on this show, right? That's what we do. But those guys, was he CIA? Was he Mossad? Maybe, maybe not. They just don't have evidence to that. They can't state something that they don't have 100% evidence on. And they can't speculate.
Well, let me ask you this. Out of everything that Pam Bondi, Cash, and Bongino could have gotten involved in, why this? I would like to have seen Dan Bongino lead an investigative FBI special team into Butler as an example. Why did Pam Bondi decide, okay, we got to get this taken care of all things, without any investigation, by the way, into his death?
Well, she looked at the files, Brian, and I know the file. Like, listen, Bongino said he read the file, and
Chris Ray's investigation.
He read exactly.
How can you trust that?
He read the file, and hold on one second. I'm just going to. You thought the same thing that I thought. You can't trust any of that. Well, that's the whole thing. Everything that they have to trust is full of holes. It's almost like they were set up. It's almost like the FBI under Biden did investigations not to find evidence to convict. They did investigations to misdirect, to protect themselves against, possible, the Congress investigating and or a future administration looking into things. These guys, it's a catch-22 for Bongino Cash. So what have they been doing? They've done what Trump told them to do. Trump praised both Cash and Bongino because they're getting back to what the FBI is supposed to do, arresting criminals, not politicals, not political opposition, but arresting criminals, stopping the stuff right now. They're stopping the child trafficking. Barbara talked about, they're stopping that. They're arresting people. They had an operation with the U.S. Marshals, which is under Pam Bondi's, under the DOJ in Florida. That operation I spoke about a week ago. So they're stopping the pedophiles. They're arresting.
But there's a big thing that's being left out of this. Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, all right, especially Bongino, they didn't just spend the last 4 years talking about this. They had huge audiences. Bongino on his radio show and his podcast, he had millions of people each week, and he was obsessed on this. Kash Patel went on every podcast and radio show in America talking about it almost, and even said, well, the FBI director has all this information, they're hiding it. So the two guys that hyped this story to the levels it's at are now nothing to see here. I think they should have given us a more detailed explanation.
Let me answer that, and I think it answers itself. I just said that the cupboard is bare. You talk about Dan Bongino looking like he's sweating. He's sweating. It's not because he's a poser or because he's scared. Hell, he could have just been sick. But he's also he's unbelievably pissed off because of all the things that he did said. Then when he gets into the FBI, he's got nothing but misdirection. He's got nobody bringing him evidence. The cupboard is bare. There's nothing to look at. And now he looks like a fool. So he's pissed. Does he want it, Brian, if there was evidence, Bongino even said it. If somebody bring me some evidence. They can't just speculate on stuff. They have to have something.
Well, we got
If they were the Democrat Party, they could arrest everybody and speculate on everything and make evidence.
I agree with that part, but Bongino is in. He is this could go really south with Bongino. I don't think you guys, and I know Steve isn't because I could tell, I don't think you guys are aware at the level of outrage from some of Trump's most vocal and big supporters. Okay?
I've seen it, Brian. I've seen all of it.
Okay, so, hold on. Bongino walked away from this multi-million-dollar a month show that he had. How's he going to return to that now?
Easy. He's wanted to me, Brian. I know to you, I mean, listen, you've put him in a negative box. You put him in a hate box. And when you do that, any information that comes in, you interpret evidence in a negative way, like the sweating. You just look at it as though he's a poser, he's scared. I mean, that's what you did. And I'm just like, that's not damn.
Who's he arrested? Is he out there like Tom Homan?
They've arrested, Brian, let me ask you a question. Why haven't you heard about all the arrests?
No. Bongino.
Bongino is does the CEO and the CFO work the floor at the manufacturing facility? You think Tom Homan goes out?
I don't know. I saw President Trump riding around in a garbage truck, flipping and making fries at McDonald's.
Can Tom Homan run 100 yards? Chasing down a subject through the wood. Okay, no.
But he busts down doors, doesn't he?
At the top, he does what?
He leads.
Listen, Tom Homan's doing a great job, but he got 45% of the FBI helping him out. Tom Homan's a great guy.
But why hasn't Bongino taken the? Listen, we're late for the break, so we got to run.
How do you know they haven't? They have taken people down.
Bongino's arrested someone personally?
Brian, the FBI has arrested all kinds of human traffickers.
Oh, the FBI. Okay, all right. I agree with that. All right, take care. We got to run. Steve, I'm going to put you on hold and everybody else. We'll be right back. All right, Stevie, it's the bottom of the hour break. If you're a Medicare recipient or about to turn 65, listen up. I want to talk to you about Medicare. Medicare, it's confusing. That's done on purpose, right? You go online, what do you find? More confusion. A lot of people, they try to go it alone or they deal with someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about, and what happens? It ends up costing them thousands of dollars sometimes each year. And also, they find out maybe their doctors or the medications, they might not be covered either. That's where Chapter comes in. Chapter is the only national Medicare advisor that compares all of the over 24,000 plans out there for you. They'll find the one that's right for you and your budget. And no matter where you are in the United States, Chapter can help. You're going to get answers, you're going to get them fast, and you're going to get them for free. So whether you're on Medicare right now or turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number's also in the description of the episode. You're going to talk to a real person. They're going to walk you through everything step by step. No gimmicks, just real help. Because the right plan, it can save you thousands. Again, the number 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Get your Medicare questions answered free. 805-754-3033. Your health and your wallet will thank you. Okay. 30 seconds. Oh, hold on, Steve. All right. 30 seconds, Steve. We'll be back. You there? Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to tell you who called me on the air yesterday when we get back. Since we're getting close to the end. I'm going to tell you who called me on the air yesterday when we get back.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Yeah, since we're getting close to the end, I don't want to forget. It was nuts. And then I'll call you afterwards to tell you some more that I don't want to share with you.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Is it good or bad?
No.
What?
No, I'll tell there's just one part I can't say on the air that I'll. All right. Oh, we're back. Oh my goodness, I forgot we're back, Steve. We're having an off-the-air conversation, and we're back. We've been back. So let me fill people in. I lost track of time. Some of you heard a strange phone call come in towards the end of the show around the Gold Report, and it was a very panicked man, and they said they had to talk to me off the air. And it was really a pretty disturbing phone call for me to get for a couple of reasons. And you may have heard me tell a story once or twice about something I did many years ago. And I said to the person when they called, wow, I haven't talked to you in like 30 years. I got to talk to you off the air. Call me, put me on hold, Brian. I got to talk to you. They were like frantic, right? So it was very strange. And this... Some of you, longtime Steve Kane listeners, when I tell you the name and this, you'll know what I'm talking about. You may have heard me tell a story on the air once or twice. When I was about 20 years old, I was doing overnights, right? On the old 1400 WFTL, right? This was like when I was like 20 years old, 21 years old. And I used to do a show 6 nights a week at 3 o'clock in the morning till 6 or 7 a.m., depending on what day of the week it was. And back then, I was a club guy. I was going out to clubs, and I would leave clubs at about 2:30 in the morning, and then go to the radio station and do a 3 or 4 hour show. And I didn't have any show. I didn't do any show prep. Didn't have much going on, and I'd been drinking. And there was one person who used to do a show that was completely scripted. And I saw in the garbage can in the radio studio their script from their show from the day before. And since I'd been partying all night and didn't have too much to say, did zero show prep, and I was young, I took their script out of the garbage, explained what I found, and then redid their show. And they were so mad at me. They were literally wanted to kill me. They came to the radio station, tried to get me fired, demanded I get fired. And this,
hold on.
Do you know who I'm talking about yet, Steve?
I just want to throw in one thing. Are the initials G.D.?
You got, no. Oh, that would have been really crazy. No, it was not Gary Daniels. No, okay. I didn't give you enough clues. It was Dr. Jim Nadell called me on the air.
Oh, wow.
I know. I couldn't believe it. And the last time I saw him, he wanted to kill me, was demanding the radio station fire me, was calling me all kinds of names and profanities and all these things. And he called me at the end of the show yesterday. There were about 15 minutes left in the show. It was right around the time of the Gold Report. And he was frantic. And he says, I got you off the air. Can't talk to you on the air. Got to talk to you off the air. I said, well, come on, you're here. I can't talk to you on the air. Got to be off the air. And I was like, oh my goodness. I did something happen where he seemed very upset at me, which translates to being upset with you too, when you haven't heard from someone for 30 years. So I put him on hold. And there's some other things I'm not sharing on the air. I'll tell you after the show, Steve. And then I talked to him after.
He's a preacher.
No, he's a psychologist. Dr. Jim Nadell, the guy that said he would go on the air and say he's a black lesbian trapped in a white man's body. Remember that guy?
He wasn't a born again Christian?
No. Oh, you don't remember Dr. Jim Nadell? Yeah, he was bald and remember he would write out his entire show. He did a 3-hour show. It was completely scripted, and he'd read it on the air. Now, a lot of people like Glenn Beck do this now, but this was I don't have any notes. The only notes I have are the phone numbers for the sponsors when I do commercials. So now keep in mind, the last time I saw him, I was like 23 years old. He wanted to kill me, was demanding I be fired and never, and all this stuff because I got his script. So I put him on hold, and the last 15 minutes of the show was very frustrating for me. I was very distracted because I was dying to know what he wanted to talk to me about and why he was so frantic. So he told me so I put him on hold. He says, I can't talk to you now. I couldn't believe this. So I gave him my cell phone number, and I talked to him later. You know what he wanted? And I gave him some pointers. He's going to be so pissed that I'm telling this story. I shouldn't even told this. This is what it'll be. I don't want any reenactments from '93. Okay. He wanted to know, Steve, if I could get him on the radio doing his show in the Miami market. He wanted me to do three things. Help him to do three things, Steve. Get him on the air in the Miami radio market.
What are we here?
He wanted me to get him back on the air doing his show. He wanted me to get him on the air at a radio station in the Miami market. Set him up with a podcast and a YouTube channel. Let me do all these three things. So now, I haven't talked to this guy in 30 years. Last time I talked to him, he wanted to kill me. And he wanted me to set him up with a whole broadcast career. Just like that, after 30 years. It was so bizarre. I mean, it was
you could do that.
I could.
You basically did it for yourself.
Why should I be doing listen, people call me up all the time, wanting me to help them get podcast and get YouTube channels and everything, and I do help some people, on occasion that are friends of mine, but not people that wanted to kill me in the past that I heard from in 30 years. But why should I do all that for somebody for nothing? Why should I give my I've been in the trenches.
Pay you?
We didn't get that far, but we've been, Steve, I've spent all these years learning this craft, and somebody wants to come in and just get all of my knowledge and skills and abilities. Oh yeah, let me give you the last 30 years while I haven't heard from you. Let me give you all the skills, techniques, talent, and the whole master class that I've been in the trenches learning.
Told him this, right?
I gave him a couple tips, and I sent him to somebody in Miami that could help him with the podcast. But it was just so bizarre. I don't know. It was just a strange thing. And there's a couple other things I'm not telling you on the air. But the last 15 minutes of yesterday's show, I don't even remember. It was very, very weird. Very weird. All right, anyway, but you would remember him. You don't remember Jim Nadal?
I have a picture in my mind, but I don't think it's the same guy.
Who are you thinking of? Pat Mahoney? Are you thinking of that 40-year-old virgin? Because you said born again. No. That was Jason Polis, Reverend Jason Polis.
Okay, that's the way I'm confused.
Yeah, you're thinking of Reverend Jason Polis. Yeah, I remember everybody and everything. I mean, I think about him.
You had a great mind.
I do have a great memory. I do. I remember everything, especially people that are trying to get me terminated from the radio station and screaming at me in front of management. I remember those people the best.
And there's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, yeah, there are. That's for sure. That's for sure. But I hadn't thought about him in a long time. But, but you still don't remember him? Remember he used to play music? You don't remember? Okay. You'll remember. It'll come to you. It'll come to you.
It'll come to me, I'm sure.
You were just at a level too far above him for him to be on your radar at the time. I was just starting out. I was at I was basically practically the janitor. I was still board opping. I was on the air and board opping back then. I was still board. I was your board op during the time that he was doing his show back then.
Yes, you were a good board op too.
I'm the best board op, and that's right. We got a very good. Let me tell you, our board op now that we have Mike is the best board op we've ever had on this show since me, of course. And he's the only board op that we've ever had that didn't sabotage the show. And we've had that's a pretty amazing thing. All right, now listen. Let's take a call or two, then we'll break, okay? Because I went on about that for a while. But a lot of you longtime Steve Kane listeners, you'll remember Dr. Jim Nadal. And I hope he gets back on the air. If he gets back on the air, we'll tell you how to find him. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Never Trumper Steve here in beautiful Palm City. Happy Taco Day. But that's a Friday issue. I'm not talking about tariffs today.
Taco Tuesday was yesterday.
Yeah, Taco Tuesday sounds better, but the deadline on the tariffs was supposed to be today, so I couldn't use
Everybody
it on
got a
Tuesday.
25% tariff that didn't make a deal. He got a tariff on everybody.
Say that again?
He sent out the letter and raised everybody's tariff to 25% that didn't make a deal. So everybody's got tariffs now.
So you're saying tariffs on the countries?
Yeah, Trump talked about this. Like Japan and all the rest, he sent out a letter. They've all got automatic tariffs if they didn't make a deal.
But the letter should have gone to...
Oh, should have.
The letter should have gone to the Americans because the Americans are the ones paying the tariff, not countries.
You know,
That's the first.
if Trump could do anything ever for you to not disagree with, you might have some credibility, but he can't do anything right by your standards. So, yeah.
No, part of what I'm going to say now on the Bongino Patel and the Pam Bondi thing partially agrees. You know, the moral of the story here is you reap what you sow. So that when Bongino and Patel were talking up the conspiracy theory here, you know, it's one thing when you're not in government that you can say all that, but once you get into government, you have to have the evidence.
That's
now,
right. Hey, listen, I looked at the clock. We're late for the break, so you call us tomorrow, Steve. I'm sorry to cut you short, but we got to do it. You know, Steve, I was telling you earlier about how your neuropathy, you were rid of it 3 years ago. It hasn't returned from Lighthouse Medical. The first time Dr. Appleton rid me of pain was also 3 years ago this month, my knee pain. And all the pains he's treated me with, none of the pains have returned. And, you know, people sometimes ask me about that. Why is that? Dr. Appleton's laser treatment, there's no drugs, no shots, no injections, completely painless. You don't even feel it when it's happening. It repairs the damage that's causing you the pain, which is amazing. You know, pain medications, not only can they turn you into a junkie, but it also just masks the pain, right? You still got the problem, and you're probably making it worse because you're doing things with that part of your body you shouldn't. But the laser treatment with Dr. Appleton actually repairs the damage that's causing the pain, and that's why the pains that he's treated me for have not returned. It's amazing. Give him a call. Now, again, appointments aren't necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. Hey there. Hold on. Steve? Hey, Steve, hold on. Hey, Steve, hold on. I'm going to conference in William. Hold on. All right, William, stand by. We got about a minute.
Okay.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
Metals are still very stable, and gold's still the one that's been trading in about $100 trading range for quite some time now. and it looks like that's where it wants to stay for the time, at least for the summer doldrums, which we usually see that with gold, and then it picking up and making moves later on in the fall. The gold yesterday trading in a range of $32.87 to $33.46, and closing out the day down $34.90 at $3,300.50 the ounce. Silver remained unchanged on the close yesterday at $36.68, very solid, above $36. Silver's been acting very well. Platinum down $4 at $1,366, and palladium closed down $6 at $1,105. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $32.83 on the low to $33.08. And currently, it's at $3,295 the ounce. That's down $5.50. Silver down 28 cents at $36.40 the ounce. Platinum down $8 at $1,356. And palladium down $5 at $1,100 the ounce. So market's still stable and, giving you plenty of time to take advantage of any kind of dips like this to add to your positions.
Absolutely.
And certainly the premiums on everything are so low now, you can't go wrong buying.
Really, that's with gold and silver?
And silver, yes.
That's amazing.
Great buying opportunities.
Are you finding, because silver is really on fire, right? Are you finding people that have a lot of silver turning it into gold now on these gold dips?
Not so much, no. We're still seeing a lot of people interested in the silver with projections as high as $100 for silver by a lot of forecasters. And
really?
Certainly we are calling for at least $50 silver before the year's out. So we'll see where we go, but silver's acting very strong.
Now the silver, because with everything we give the prices out in ounces, that's how it's done. But silver's available in the bars too, bigger than that. You have what are the prices looking on those 100-ounce and 10-ounce bars of silver right now?
Yeah, very, very reasonable. You can buy 100-ounce bars from us for just 50 cents over for Steve Kane listeners, just 50 cents over the spot.
Wow.
And 10-ounce bars for $1.50 over, or maybe even less on larger quantities. So
that's amazing.
We've got great values, great buys, and of course, there's no sales tax in the state of Florida on all these commodities, so it's a great venue altogether.
That's great. Well, listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Give him a call, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, or stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto. And you can find both his address and phone number on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, we're back. So Steve, are you predicting that this Epstein case is going to evaporate from the news like today or something? What do you think?
Which case?
The Epstein. All this Epstein controversy with Bondi.
I hope so. I don't know. These people that are pushing it are just fanatics.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning, Brian. This is Richard from Coral Springs.
Hey, Richard.
I just wanted to address this Pam Bondi thing. If you play the video, you played that video. She said in February to John Roberts, under his directive, that means under President Trump's directive. So he's the one who is controlling. I love President Trump, but I feel maybe he's not on the list, but he has some high loyalists who are loyal to him during all his life are on the list, and he's trying to protect them. And I don't think Kash Patel, Bongino, or Pam Bondi, who was there during his downturn, is going to go against him.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Richard in Coral Springs. Are you suggesting that President Trump is covering for pedos? Come on.
He's not covering for whoever it is, but he is covering for someone because it is only happening under his direction.
I think he got bad advice from Pam Bondi, and
that's your opinion. But
that's what you got.
Like
yes.
Any other person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but
okay.
But I feel.
But you love Trump. How can you say you love Trump, but he's protecting sex criminals at the same time. How can you love Trump and think he's protecting perverts?
You can love somebody and disagree with
that protects perverts?
Can I make one?
No,
can I say something?
That seems to cancel one or the other one.
Sir, I can compare you with Jay and the other guy from New Jersey, because every time they call everybody racist when it's anybody except a colored person, anybody disagrees with Israel.
Excuse me, a what person? Anybody but a what person?
Whenever Jay and the other guy from New Jersey, they call everybody racist if they're not black.
You didn't say black though. You used the C word. You didn't say black. You said the C word.
No, sir. No.
You said if they're not. You said the C word. I heard. Did you hear him say it, Steve? He said colored.
Yes.
You said colored. Where are you from originally? This is not a Coral Springs accent.
Well, the topic of my race is not you again. Always racially profile people.
Well, you're the one that used some outdated racial description that hasn't been used since afros were in style.
You can understand whatever you want to hear, but you call everybody anti-Semite if they just disagree with the.
Oh my goodness!
That's not
you
correct.
Used a racial slur towards blacks. Now you don't like the Jews. Oh my goodness!
Oh no! See, now that's what you say because you're the same like Jay of New Jersey. Because you said
the C word.
No, sir, I did not.
You did. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. Appreciate the call. Oh my goodness. Gee whiz.
Not a happy camper.
Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I lost about a pound a day. My weight loss goal was 25 pounds. I met with Dr. Zuckerman at Coastal Weight Loss on Inauguration Day, right before I went to Wings Plus, and I told him, I said, well, we got our cruise coming up. He says, well, how much do you want to lose? I said, 25 pounds. He says, when's the cruise? I said, a month from today. No problem. He said, Doc said, no problem. I said, come on, Dr. Zuckerman, 25 pounds, and I'm leaving him. He said, no problem. I lost 25 pounds in 3 weeks. That's amazing. So a week early, because it was amazing. I was in shock. Some days I lost a pound. Some days I lost more. And again, no exercise, no prescription medications like Ozempic, eating food I would normally eat. Overall, I lost over 35 pounds. I will never reveal what my starting weight was because it was embarrassing. I could not believe what happened to me, Steve. It was pretty bad. And but I've lost all the weight. I feel great. I look great. My pants have been falling off. I've had to buy new pants. I've had to buy new belts, and it's great. I've lost so much weight. You can do the same. And by the way, my results are not unusual. My results are quite typical with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. So give him a call and go see Dr. Zuckerman. Remember, it's no charge consultation. And no matter where you're located in America, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help. Here's the number. And when you call, make sure you tell him you heard about him on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Hey, Michael.
I don't really... Hey, Steve. I don't really blame Pam Bondi. I don't really blame Trump. Who I blame for this whole situation is Kevin McCarthy, because remember, Trump's original pick for the AG was going to be Matt Gaetz, and because Kevin McCarthy had a vendetta against Matt Gaetz and brought up all those bogus ethics charges against him, we didn't get Matt Gaetz. We had to settle for Pam Bondi.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz would that cabinet meeting would have been a little different with Attorney General Matt Gaetz yesterday.
Absolutely, and that's why I say we got to blame Kevin McCarthy for this.
Yeah. All right, Mike in Louisiana. Yep. That was a good call from Mike in Louisiana. That was one of Mike from Louisiana's best calls, I got to tell you. He usually calls really early in the morning. I don't know if he's ever called this late in the show. Tomorrow is Thursday. Yes, today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, let's squeeze in one or two more. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Hey, good call, Mike from Louisiana. Good call. Hey, since this time is limited, am I coming in okay, Brian?
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Nice to hear. Nice to know you're feeling well, Uncle Steve. Since time is short, look, this is sleight of hand. Trump is having the shiny object in the right hand while the left hand is behind his back. Now, everyone who hasn't seen the tape, go back and look at when Trump interjected to answer the question from the reporter with Pam Bondi. When he interjected and said, why are we talking about this? They don't want to talk about the wins. Then he gave her the opportunity to talk or not to talk. If I was a wise attorney, I would shut up and not talk. But is it orchestrated? Is Trump letting them see the shiny object? My point is this. Are we going to see 3 more wins in the next 5 to 7 days while they're talking about
All right,
this?
we're out of time. We're out of time, IB, but thanks for the call. And that's it. All right. Hey, listen, take care, everyone. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane has been here. I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. All right. Hey, listen, guys, I got to take off. Oh, I'm exhausted. That was a busy show today, and I'm pretty tired. Very high energy, great calls today. If you're new, welcome. Make sure you subscribe, okay? This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you're already subscribed, please like the video and share on your socials if you don't mind. All right, guys, take care. I'll talk to you later.